One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi!
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tuesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. We have news at the top of the show from Collin County in Texas. Frisco, Texas was the place where Austin Metcalf was stabbed during a high school track meet. There has been a verdict in the case. James Flippin is here with us. Good afternoon, James. What can you tell us?
Hey, Bo. Yeah, so Karmelo Anthony, the 19-year-old, has been convicted of murder in the knife death of Austin Metcalf. As you referenced, this happened at a track meet a couple of years ago. And basically it was a fight that, you know, any number of teenagers have had over the years, where this Austin Metcalf said, you can't be here, you can't be under our track team's tent, and that became kind of a shoving match. The court documents indicate that Karmelo Anthony said, don't touch me, don't try me, don't try me, don't touch me. He had a knife in his backpack, took it out, plunged it into Austin Metcalf's chest, and he was dead just minutes later. And the trial has been going on for the past couple of weeks. You know, supporters of Karmelo Anthony have been fighting with supporters of Austin Metcalf and his family outside of the courthouse. And it's really become a very racially charged case. But now this particular result, the conviction, came after the jury deliberated for just a couple of hours. You know, it really didn't take them much time to come up with this guilty verdict. And now we'll find out exactly what happens as far as sentencing.
Yes, and the jury is not allowed at this point to talk, from what I understand, until that sentencing is over. The jury is going to be called back in. There's going to be another segment of the trial where the sentencing will be discussed, and that trial will continue and then ultimately result in a sentencing recommendation from the jury.
Yeah, from what I see, Karmelo Anthony's mother, sorry to cut you off there, will be taking the stand during that sentencing portion. So, you know, obviously she's going to plead for her son's, for leniency in her son's case.
They came up with a self-defense as their
strategy.
Defense. It was self-defense, yeah. And it was not accepted by the jury. Apparently, as you mentioned, James, he had been in another team's tent. And some news reports say up to 15 times he was asked to leave, did not leave. And one witness testified no one attempted to gang up on him. The contact before the stabbing was minor pushing at most. Mm-hmm. Another witness testified Anthony appeared to be looking for a fight. But as you said, he warned Metcalf several times, don't put your hands on me, don't put your hands on me. So, just tragic.
Yeah, and look, I'm not an attorney, you know, have covered some of these trials as a reporter, but it just seems like it was a case that didn't need to go to trial. You know, I mean, it was a pretty open and shut case. There was never really any indication that Karmelo Anthony would have felt at threat of loss of life or limb. So why he would be using a blade in response to a shoving match, unless it was something where his, you know, head was repeatedly being bashed into the ground, or he felt threat of a larger group or something like that. But even the Anthony team's own witnesses kind of contradicted some of the cases that they were trying to make. So that's where you saw the defense rest its case yesterday. There was even some speculation that they might be trying to go back to prosecutors to make a deal of some kind. You know, maybe at that point prosecutors said more or less it's too late. And obviously, less than 24 hours later, we did have a murder conviction handed down.
The inflammatory nature of this trial, you had a lot of outsiders there. One, a so-called right-wing provocateur, Jack Lang, who's been in New York, by the way, and they said that Anthony should be lynched, which is absurd. given that we are supposed to deal with these things in a court of law. On the other quote unquote side, the new Black Panthers. The old Black Panthers should be ashamed of this bunch. But the new Black Panthers showed up today, complete with their costumes, and I guess to try to intimidate somebody. No one was intimidated, apparently. So as we head now to the sentencing, it looks like it didn't work. Karmelo Anthony will be facing he could face up to life. Don't know what the jury is going to suggest with sentencing, but this incident, which a shoving match.
Yeah.
I think maybe we all should just agree that it should not have ended in the death of anyone.
I think that's just well said, Bo, because really what happened here was, I think, after the fact, it started to take on so much of that racially charged elements to it, because the people online with the GoFundMe and connecting some perceived injustice that they faced in their life to this instance that they have nothing to do with, a lot of those emotions come out over time in response to something like this. But having not been there, having not really covered the case inside the courtroom, I never heard anything about there being a lot of racial animus in what led up to this. You know, I don't think there was a lot of speculation about anything of that nature. This was teens who got into a shoving match at a competitive event, and one of them, unfortunately, had a knife when he should not have.
I am so happy you said that, James, because the prosecution opened the case by saying this is not a racial case. Mm-hmm. This is not about race. This is about the behavior. And now I'm paraphrasing. He said it's not about race, but his take was this is about the behavior that happened between two teenagers. Yeah. And what happened exactly, not about race. And that is exactly right. It was about the behavior.
Yeah. No, fists and pushing and raised emotions and anger and all that, that's something that happens amongst teen boys. But when guns get involved, when knives get involved, that's when we're talking about what we're talking about now.
Speaking of when guns get involved, in New York City, folks around the country, I beg your indulgence because I wanted to ask James while he's here about a few things that have happened in New York City over the past few days. In New York City, a man riding a bus, happened to be black, asked another teenager to turn down the volume. He ends up dead. The teenager pulls a gun out, shoots him twice in the stomach. This happened in the Tremont section of the Bronx, and then just left the bus. He's still going on. Last night, the New York Knicks Mondami watch party in Bryant Park. Carlos, I told you, don't go to Bryant Park. I told you, I've been to Bryant Park. It's not anywhere you wanted to be. James, what happened last night at Bryant Park in New York at the Mondami watch party?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, Knicks fans not happy with the result of Game 3, and you had a lot of people who were probably indulging in alcoholic beverages, perhaps some other substances of some kind, and a lot of people in close quarters there at Bryant Park. So, yeah, it got, to coin a phrase, unruly. This was a lot of chaos last night in response to the Knicks game and the Bryant Park watch party. You had people on top of cars, light poles, I think, that were torn down in one place, and about 20 people arrested. I think 8 people were facing multiple offenses, including assault on police officers. So it was not a good look. It was not a bright moment in New York history. This run that the Knicks have been on has been a real positive for New York City and its people and kind of bringing people together, but last night was not an example of that.
Game 4 is coming up. Will there be any more Mondami watch parties?
There was supposed to be, yeah. I mean, when they first announced the fact that they weren't going to have one outside of MSG on 7th Avenue for Game 3 due to President Trump being in town, it was pretty quickly noted that they will have one for Game 4. Now, that was before we saw what happened at Bryant Park last night, so I don't know. The NYPD's kind of gone back and forth on this. There were a couple games where they didn't have it outside of MSG, and they kind of encouraged people to go to some other designated areas. They've done them in Central Park. They've had certain bars that are acting as partners for these events. But, yeah, it's up in the air right now. They did say before last night that they were going to have a watch party for Game 4.
Would you go?
There's a part of me that definitely wants to be experiencing that emotion and that moment. But I mean, look, I also have a buddy of mine who does content on YouTube. Like, he was out there for Game 2's watch party, which was obviously played in San Antonio, but they had a lot of people gathering in New York City. And he got a lot of incredible video that he shot that night. But he also had a moment where he felt like he was in danger of more or less the crowd kind of crushing him or trampling him. And that was a moment that was very scary for him.
Well, I saw somebody, what's the name of the team that the Knicks are playing? Please help.
The San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, the Texas Spurs. One of their fans got stomped in New York yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. That was not not pleasant. Yeah, well, I mean,
great idea. Let's do. Go ahead.
No, I mean, look, that type of stuff, the bad behavior between fans and all that, it's an awful aspect of sports, and you definitely don't want to see that, and the New York City Police Department shouldn't allow that type of behavior, obviously, but the overarching thing has been really a positive thing for New York. So I'd hate to see it be tarnished by another one of these, watch parties getting out of hand. And if people can't appreciate the privilege of being able to do something like that, then they can't do it. But we'll see what happens. I haven't heard anything official about Game 4.
Well, please keep us posted, James Flippin. And as we move to the sentencing of Karmelo Anthony, let's keep in touch with that. Didn't he play for the Knicks?
Yeah, that was Karmelo with a C, who is probably about 20 or 30 years older than this particular Karmelo Anthony. But yes, that is the same name as the gentleman who played for Syracuse University and then later the Knicks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great idea. Let's have a watch party in New York with all this. Let's have another one. Great idea. What could possibly go wrong?
Let's go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks. James Flippin, thank you so much. James Golden, Bo Snerdley with you. Folks, there's a lot of evil happening, and I don't know how else to say it. There's a lot of evil happening in the world. We're going to talk about what happened in Belfast, what's happening in California, what's happening elsewhere.
Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball.
The Ferry Hawks are back at SIUH Community Park this week against the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars. A 5-game series starting Wednesday with first pitch at 6:30. Thursday at 4 p.m., it's Jewish Heritage Night. Friday at 7 p.m., it's Soccer Night. And kids glow around the bases postgame. Saturday at 6:30, it's Broadway Night with postgame fireworks and Broadway Rave. Sunday at 1:30, it's Military Appreciation Day, and the kids run around the bases.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.